Today we are rocking the man bun. That is the man bun swagger. Hello everybody, welcome to a rainy day in London. AKA pretty much every single day. Today's topic is how I got into YouTube, my YouTube story. It's something that I get asked about a lot and I often give a sort of hashed response, a shorthand version of the story. And up until this point, I've never done a full video concerning how I got into YouTube and why I started doing it. The timeline of my YouTube story. And that's why I'm here right now. That's why I'm rocking the man bun. That's why we got the 50mm lens. 50 millimeter lens. Remember to drop a like on this video and of course leave a comment. When did you first start watching YouTube? And in fact, when did you start watching me on YouTube? I'll be very interested to hear from you. Let me know in the comment section. Anyway, let's get into this story. Let's roll back the years to where it all first began. I grew up in the 2000s. I went to school in between 2001 and 2008. And during this period, many websites came and went that you could watch videos on. None of them really stuck around. None of them lasted the test of time. And that was, of course, until YouTube came around. YouTube managed to last. YouTube managed to stick around. And I think that I first started watching YouTube videos in either 2006 or 2007. It was like a revelation for me and my friends. We came across this website where you could find viral content, community content, all sorts of things. Anything you want, you could find it. And so by this point, I was in sixth form. Me and my friends, we were in sixth form. We were studying away, doing our thing in South London. And I liked the website. I really liked it. And I especially liked the fact that you could find channels that were just made by individual people. Community content just made by people that they then uploaded themselves, they produced it themselves. I really liked that whole idea and I started following some channels. And over time, I developed this joke at school with my friends. And whenever we did like funny stuff or something cool happened, we'd say this thing where we'd be like, oh, we should have put that on YouTube and we'd get bare hits, man. That was like the thing we'd say, we'd get bare hits and we'd do this weird voice. Just kids having fun. And it was at that point in sixth form where I was like, I want to do YouTube. I want to start a YouTube channel. However, being that young and having my eyes on university, seeing all my friends, doing whatever people do at that age, I just never got round to starting it at that point. Are you... What was I saying? I've completely forgotten the point of the story that I'm on. Okay, so I didn't start a YouTube channel at that point. I really wanted to, but I just didn't do it. And then I went on a gap year, and again, I just didn't get round to it. I worked, I chilled out. I had so much free time, more free time than I have ever had. But I didn't have the drive to start YouTube. I didn't know how to start it. I just didn't think about it properly. Now, I had always been an active person. I'd always done sports. I'd always done exercise. And just before university started, about halfway through 2009, I got an injury on my back. That injury will become very important later on in this story. So I go to university, I'm having a great time, it's absolutely awesome, meet some great people, and during this period I start getting active again. I start going to the gym, and I start doing a martial art called Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. If you do not know what Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is, it's like judo with throws and stuff, but then you do a lot of grappling and wrestling on the floor as well. I absolutely loved it. I really threw myself into it. But of course, doing all of this exercise and doing this martial art, it started to wear and tear on my body. I wasn't doing everything with the best form and technique either, and so that, of course, can affect you negatively. We are about to finish university now, midway through 2012. I finish university, I graduate, I'm looking for work, and it is so difficult. There is no work for Paula. I'm unemployed for a while, for a few months, and so I throw myself even more into training and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and my body is slowly deteriorating, but you just kind of ignore it. When you are a very physical and active person, this is something you can do where you start getting these warning signs from your body, you start getting this pain, but you just ignore it. You're like, no, mate. It's fine, I'll be fine. Listen to your body, everybody. You may very well be fine, but you may very well end up not fine as well. And that is kind of what happened to me. End of 2012, I'm in a jiu-jitsu class, I'm sparring someone, they are in my half guard, I'm kind of like lying down on my side, and they're on top of me, and we're like grappling, right? And just out of nowhere, oh, the memories. And then out of nowhere, just that nothing sparked it, like I was very relatively comfortable in the sparring situation. What I'm trying to say is that we are in a normal position. There's not like some extreme pressure. Nothing terrible is going wrong. Out of nowhere, I just feel my lower back. Like, the only way that I can explain it, imagine that these are your vertebrae. You've got discs in between them. And the only way that I can explain it is it felt like one of these discs in between my vertebrae. It felt like there was just like this little sort of like, this little movement. It just felt a bit weird. And I'm lying there in my half guard. I've got this person and we're grappling. And I feel this. It's like everything just stopped. I could tell something really, really bad had happened. Because of course I'd aggravated the injury before. I'd had setbacks with it. And over time, my whole body health was slowly going down, but this felt completely different. This felt particularly bad. And it was like everything just stopped. And I told him, I was like, oh, wait a second, can we stop? And so we stopped. And then all I can say is that I felt so much pain. More pain than I have ever felt in my life. That period, that little moment there, that is the most physical pain that I have ever felt. It's so hard to explain what a back injury is like to someone that doesn't necessarily know what it feels like. The best I can do at describing it is extremely sharp, extremely sharp. It's like someone's getting a big knife and stabbing it in your back. And I felt that, and I could instantly tell that I was just feeling weak and things had gone south. And so I sat out the rest of that class, and then I couldn't even ride my bike home. I was in that much pain. And so I wheeled my bike home, and that was that. I was now pretty heavily injured. I was unemployed. I had all of this free time. I obviously couldn't do my martial art. I had to take a break. And so I was basically here. I was stuck here in my room, in my house. I wasn't physically stuck. Obviously, I could walk around and everything like that. But what I mean is that I didn't have anything to do. Playing games kept me interested, and obviously I would see my friends, I'd see family. But essentially, I was unemployed with loads of free time. These cars going by, you're ruining my story! You're ruining my story! And I'm not exactly sure why, because the whole YouTube idea, by that point, it was a bit out of my head. Obviously, I was still watching a lot of YouTube. Nonetheless, by this point, I still didn't have any real drive to do it. It's just something that I'd always wanted to do, but I didn't know how to start it. And for some reason, at this point, that idea came back into my head. I realised that in that moment, in that period, I very well might not ever have that free time again. The sort of free time that is very, very useful and good if you want to start something like YouTube, especially at the age of 22. And I wanted to be constructive with my time whilst I couldn't do exercise other than the rehab that I was doing, and be constructive with my time whilst I was not working. And I'd had this camera, this old camera. See, this is the thing, I bought this camera, this old Panasonic Lumix camera here. This is the camera that I used to use in my old videos. I bought this camera in 2011, and that was one of those points where I was still at uni, where I was like, yeah, I'm gonna start YouTube now, but I just didn't get around to it. But at the end of 2012, when all of that stuff happened, I had the camera and I was like, let's just give it a go. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't know exactly where I was going to go with it all, but I knew that I had to force myself to do it. And that is exactly what I did. I forced myself to start shooting videos. I started shooting some series called Some Interesting Stuff, a series where I talked about cool, funny, interesting things that had popped up during the week, just because it seemed like an easy idea at the time. I didn't have game recording equipment, I didn't have a good PC, and it just seemed like something that I could do to force myself to start shooting videos. And that, everybody, as I'm sure you can tell, brings us to the end of this story. The story of how I started YouTube. Of course, my overall YouTube story is very much still going on, and so who knows where it will all eventually lead. I know that when I started it, I wanted to take it as far as possible. I didn't know necessarily in what direction, but I just knew that if I started YouTube, I would throw myself into it 100%, content and do the very best that I could at making content. Started that first series sitting on my bed in a lot of pain talking about random things, and 3.5 years later we are here right now. Got a lot more to do, got a lot more coming. My goals and ambitions are super high, and I can't wait to see where the future leads. And I'm very thankful and very happy that I've got all of you there with me. Your support means so much, and I hope that you have enjoyed this video and it has given you some insight into why and how I started YouTube. That is it for now, everybody. Much love and peace. Quick little side note before we finish. I forgot to add this in when I was standing up, so I had to roll the camera again because this is very important. If there is one thing that I would like you to take from this video, if there is something that you would like to do, go and do it. Just imagine if I'd never got injured, if I'd never injured my back. I might very well never have started doing YouTube. And that isn't really good. It shouldn't be left to chance. If there's something that you want to do, go and do it. Do not wait, just go and do it. Some food for thought, don't leave it to chance, okay? And that is it. Best of luck.